And welcome back to Season 7 of the Tanso Racing Group GR86 League. We're now in Week 5 for Race 9, the penultimate race. And things are really hotting up. From VIR last week, we have in the pro standings Eric Ronenberg on 308 points, Daniel Wareham on 307 and Stuart Court in third place on 275 points. So Eric and Daniel very close. Stuart Court's got it all to do if he wants to get in front of either of those two. And then in the AM standings we have Adrian Hadfield leading the way on 288 points, Dave Clark in second place 279, Dan Forster 271 and Chris Thorpe on 264. So all to play for this week at the Red Bull Ring. Let's get started. As we're waiting to go on the grid, we can see that we've got Dan Wareham in first place ahead of Eric Ronenberg, closely followed by Jack Holland, Sean Webber, Eugene Webber, Rush Lee, Tom Bland, Mark Proctor, Scott Kostrick and Stuart Court rounds out the top 10. Then we have Cyril Blanco and Rob Sutherland, and they will be closely followed by Pete Sidkar, Dan Forster, and then Joel, Niles Cooler, Adrian Hadfield, Dave Clark, Peter Woodmore, John Johnston in 20th, and out the back in 21st place, Stuart Briley. Right, let's get underway for Heat 1, and off we go. We've got Dan Wareham out front, closely followed by Eric Ronenberg, Jack Holland, Sean Webber and Tom Bland. And as we come up to the first corner, we've got Dan Wareham out front, followed by Eric Ronenberg, Jack Holland, and then Sean Webber. Dan Wareham's already pulling away by 7/10 of a second ahead of Jack Holland. And then we've got Tom Bland close behind 2/10 as we come round the first part of the back half of the course. So Dan Wareham now really putting a gap between himself and Eric. I think Dan's really pushing hard to win this one. Tom Bland's now 2 seconds back from these two. So we've got Dan Wareham from Eric Ronenberg, Tom Bland 2 seconds back, Eugene Webber, who's just been taken by Rush Lee. It looks like Eugene's had an off track there and has dropped all the way down to 14th now. So Stuart Court and Rob Sutherland. Little battle going on here. Stuart's got Rob Sutherland pushing him and Scott Kostrick is pushing Rob. As we come down the start-finish straight, following Stuart Court with Rob Sutherland just 2/10 behind, coming up to the Niki Lauda curve. Rob's right on his tail. Dodgy old corner this, easy to go wide. And we've got a nice little trio here. And then just up in front of them, we've got Tom Bland and Rush Lee at it as well. So as Tom comes around the corner, he drifts slightly wide, goes off track. Rush Lee's got the traction, but unfortunately is now 6/10 behind. Well, so out front, Dan Wareham has got himself a massive 2.5 second or more lead, nearly 3 second lead from Eric Ronenberg, and Tom Bland's another 2 seconds behind. That looks like a done deal. Way to go yet, but on board with Tom Bland here. He's now half a second ahead of Rush Lee. Stuart Court trying to chase him down. Pretty tidy fight here. There's only a few tenths between them. So come through to the home finish straight now. Tom Bland with Rush Lee just 2 tenths behind. Will he be able to get him down the straight? Wouldn't mind betting he tries to dive for the inside on T1. Nope, he's not going to go for it just yet. Tom Bland goes a little bit wide, but nothing too much, nothing in danger there. Still got Rush Lee just 2 tenths behind, giving him trouble. Whilst at the back here we see Niles Kula and Stuart Briley. Just taking him there and then trying to hunt down Mark Proctor. Is on Peter Sigda. Mark Proctor comes up the inside here. We'll follow Mark through, see if he's managed to do the deal on Peter. Oh, little nudge. Doesn't manage to pull it off. Peter's back ahead, and then further up in 7th place, we've got Joel under pressure at the moment from Cyril. A couple of races ago, Cyril gave us a great old display. And I think it was his first race out with us. Joel and Cyril having a tidy time there as Dan Forster tries to get on the back of them. But way out in front is Dan Wirham. Obviously really likes this track. He's 4 seconds ahead of Eric in 2nd place. Amazing. With Tom Bland a second behind him. And then Stuart Court in 4th place, another second behind. And Rush Lee is now chasing down Stuart Court in 4th place. Not quite close enough to do anything there as we come round the Nicky Lauda curve. Further back, Cyril's giving Joel a run for his money. As we come down to Remus. It's a long old drag. It's not going to get anything on him, I don't think. Yeah, nothing doing there. Joel manages to hold the gap to just under half a second. Oh, and we just lost Dan Forster by the looks of it. Dan Forster just went off. Now back down to 11th. It's left Joel and Cyril just to get on with it. Oh! As we see Joel lose it there, and everyone goes flying through. Scott Kostrick is off and away and takes that space quite happily. Eugene Webber goes through. Let's go back, see what Stuart's up to. So Stuart Court has got Rush Lee on his tail still, 3 tenths behind. It's about the closest battle up front that we've got out here at the moment. I'm sure Rush Lee's just waiting for the opportunity, waiting for the right time. Stuart Court's desperately trying not to give it to him. We come up again to the Nicky Lauda curve. Stuart Court from Rush Lee, and then a second back to Rob Sutherland. Then we've got 8 seconds back to Cyril Blanco. And Scott Kostrick's 4 seconds behind him. Some big gaps here. Peter and Mark Proctor further back. having a bit of a battle. Mark Proctor up the inside of Peter as we come into the Niki Lauda curve. Has he got him? Just got to hold it. Is he going to get enough traction? And then, is this 3 wide now? We've got Peter, Mark and Joel. And Niles Cooler in the battle as well. Nearly 4 wide for a second there. An amazing bit of battling going on here. Mark Proctor's been pushed out of that one. Oh, and a little coming together. Oh my. Niles Cooler takes a tap on the back from Joel, who makes it all the way through. Peter doesn't come too well out of that either. And after waiting patiently at the back there, Mark Proctor runs away with it. Now second and a half in front of Joel. Good bit of time in there. While Stuart Court is just under pressure now from Rush Lee as they exchange places just quickly there. Just missed that exchange. But Stuart managed to pull it back. So these two, although they are battling, they are hunting down Tom Bland, who's now less than a second ahead of them. But Stuart Court is massively under pressure from Rush Lee now. As close as he's been. Although he does lose it coming around Red Bull Mobile. As we go up a home finish straight. And then further back we've got Joel under pressure from Dan Forster. Dan goes up the inside. Joel's having none of it. Oh, but he goes wide and has no choice. Oh, and a touch it again. My God. There he goes. Joel makes his way through one way or another there. I'm sure there'll be some words about that afterwards. Peter now putting Joel under pressure. Oh, as we see Stuart Briley just lose it on his own by the looks of it. Goes into a bit of a spin now. Back up front we see Stuart Court now under pressure from Rush Lee. Rush Lee now got a nose ahead as we come into Remus. Is he going to hold it? I think we're further on actually than where I thought. And Rush Lee does make it through on Stuart Court. It's a really good bit of passing there. Stuart Court's now backed off a bit. He's half a second behind Rush Lee. We've got Niles Cooler under pressure now from Sean Webber further back. I think we just lost Joel. What's happened there? We lost this connection. And Niles Cooler really being pressured by Sean Webber. It comes through this S section. The Werve curve. Niles Cooler got. Oh, Sean Webber was looking to take a dive up the right hand side there as we come into Rindt and around to the Red Bull Mobile and into the home straight. Right, are we going to get some T1 action? Sean Webber going to go for it. It looks like he has. He's gone on the inside. I think Niles Cooler just let him have that one. Don't think he was up for a fight there. And Sean Webber starts to pull away now. Whilst Scott Kostrick is under pressure from Eugene Webber, who takes a dive up the inside on Scott. And in Schlossgold is Eugene tries to take it tight. And he does. Has he got him? He's not quite ahead. There's hundredths in it. Scott Kostrick holds him off as they go. The inside becomes the outside. We go back to 2/10 apart. Really good bit of battling here. Scott Kostrick really holding it on these tight lines to keep Eugene Webber at bay. 2/10 back, but not really a lot in it, actually on track as they come around the final corner into the start-finish straight. Neck and neck, not much in it. Eugene Webber goes diving up the inside. Is he going to have Scott in T1? I think he's got him. Got him just beforehand, but will Eugene be able to hold it? Oh, Eugene goes wide, but it's enough to hold off Scott. So back out front, we've got Dan Wirham, who's now, his lead has been cut 2.5 seconds, just under, back to Eric Ronenberg, who's under pressure from Tom Bland, who's just 1/2 second behind him. And then we've got Stuart Court 1.5 seconds back, and Rush Lee another 1.5 seconds back. But Eugene Webber and Scott Kostrick is the fight on track at the moment. They're at it again. Eugene Webber is slightly ahead, but I think Scott Kostrick's gonna try the cut in. Is he gonna do it? Nope. Eugene's got the inside. There's no way. Scott could have gone for the undercut there, maybe, but had too much of an overlap to try that one. Now he's on the inside. Is he going to be able to hold it? Is he going to be able to maintain the speed? No, Eugene gets a brilliant fire out of that corner. Lovely traction that keeps him ahead of Scott, albeit by just over 1/10. And Scott Kostrick comes down the inside of Eugene Webber. Oh, Eugene cuts his nose off. No way through there, Scott. Gonna have to try again. But he's lost a little bit of time. Now 3/10 back, coming up the start-finish straight. Will the draft be enough to get Scott Kostrick close coming into T1? Will it be what he needs? No. Not there. And they drift apart. Whilst further back, we have Peter and Niles Cooler trading blows. Not quite literally, but they're getting very close. Niles 2/10 cutting that gap all of the time as they come up to Remus. Oh, but it doesn't quite get the traction, I don't think. And it's back down to 1/2 second. Oh, up front, what have we got going on? Eric Ronenberg has now taken the lead ahead of Dan Wirham. Dan's not giving up easy though. He goes on the inside, trying to fight him off. It's Eric, then it's Dan, then it's Eric, and then it's Dan again. This is really close battling all the time. Tom Bland is trying to fight on the inside as we go 3 wide up the start-finish straight. This is the battle we were looking for in the penultimate race. Tom Bland's on the inside. He's not going to hold it. He tucks in back behind. Oh, going slightly wide there, Dan. Not holding it together. And now we're 3 wide coming up here. Not only that, we've got Stuart Court pushing on the outside of Dan Wirham. Oh! And that causes mayhem. Loses traction. Tom Bland manages to recover. Not fully though. Goes back into third, but does manage to hold on to it. Oh, that was serious bad luck there. Just such close fighting that a little touch put them off balance. And Dan Wirham's away. He is back out in front again as Rush Lee joins in on the fun and goes up the inside of Tom Bland. So we've got Dan Wirham now 2 seconds just under ahead of Eric Ronenberg, and the fight we are watching with Tom Bland and Rush Lee for second, third and fourth. Tom doing his utmost to hold off Rush Lee there as Eric's trying to stretch away from them. Rush Lee dives up the inside of Tom Bland, which is the outside. Is he going to try the undercut? No, it doesn't quite get it in there. Rush Lee is all over the back of Tom Bland now as they come up the start-finish straight, and is going to dive up the inside. That was just going to happen. As we come into the Niki Lauda curve, Tom Bland moves over out of the way. Oh, and that was a wise move by Tom. Although he lost the place, that was better than what could have happened if they had come in together. And then we've got Peter as a back marker now. Just come out of the pits. Doesn't get in the way. Nicely moves over. Rush Lee seemed to lose some traction around Remus as Tom Bland closes the gap. Tom's firing it down the outside as they go side by side into the next corner. Not going to get round him there, and there's no room for the undercut, but he's going to try it. But what is the inside now becomes the outside. We go round the next bend. Rush Lee's holding Tom Bland off here really well. There's nothing giving. There's no space here to make a pass. Line is so important with these corners. But Tom Bland's going to try and dive for the inside. He goes to the outside. Oh, and he goes round the outside. Yes, and he makes a brilliant pass there on Rush Lee. Tom Bland up into third. And takes it. So Dan Wirham, Eric Ronenberg, Tom Bland, Rush Lee, Rob Sutherland, Stuart Court. That's your top six. What a race that was. Absolutely awesome finish. Cyril comes across the line there. And a little way back is Eugene Webber, which gave us some entertainment there, followed by Scott Kostrick and Mark Proctor. And then Sean Webber gave us a little bit of a fight and entertainment. Niles Cooler as well. In fact, most of these guys previewed somewhere in the race, which was really good. What a fantastic end to the penultimate race. And there we have the results. The winner is Dan Wirham, with a much needed win against Eric Ronenberg, followed by Rush Lee and Rob Sutherland. Then Stuart Court, Cyril Blanco, Eugene Webber, Scott Kostrick, Mark Proctor, Sean Webber in 10th, Niles in 11th, Tom Bland 12th, Adrian Hadfield 13th. And then we have Pete Woodmore in 15, Dave Clark 16, Stuart Briley 17, and John Johnson in 18th there. Then Peter in 19th, Joel in 20th, and Jack Holland bringing up the field in 21st. So next up, race 10, final race of season 7. Let's hope it's as exciting as what we've seen so far. See you all soon. And welcome back to the very last race, race 10 of season 7 of the Tanso Racing Group GR86 League. Now, I'm going to say this now before I forget. Season 8 is coming up in a few weeks' time, It'd be great for you to join us. If you'd like to join us, go over to tansoracing.group.co.uk, click the sign up button and join us for season 8. If you like what you've seen so far, come and get involved in some great close battling on some fantastic tracks with some really friendly people. Hope to see you there. Anyway, for now, we'll get back to the final, race 10. Right, we get ready to go for race 10. We got Sean Webber out front. Mark Proctor, Scott Kostrick, Stuart Court, Cyril Blanco. Some of the faster drivers are making short work of jumping out front. And then we've got Stuart Court popping in and out there. So Sean Webber, Scott Kostrick. Oh, Stuart Court goes off. Oh, he's facing the wrong way down the track. That's not very handy. But as we go out front with Sean Webber, we've got Scott Kostrick just behind him, and then Mark Proctor, Rush Lee, Cyril Blanco, Eric Ronenberg, Dan Weirham, and Eugene Webber. As we come up to the second corner, Sean Webber's got it. 4 tenths ahead of Scott Kostrick, then Mark Proctor. It's all looking rather good here. Sean Webber out front. Scott Kostrick 2 tenths behind, then Mark Proctor just over half a second behind him. Rush Lee in 4th. Cyril Blanco back in 5th place. Gone a bit wide there, Cyril. But out front, Sean Webber ahead of Scott Kostrick, then Mark Proctor. Really close battle. It always makes for so much more close racing when they do the reverse grid for the second race. Sean Webber, Mark Proctor off there. Mark Proctor, Cyril Blanco changing places as they go off track. Rush Lee gets through. Mark Proctor's gone way wide there. So it's Sean Webber from Scott Kostrick. Now got half a second on him. Back to Eric Roenberg's made his way all the way up into 3rd place already. Don't forget Eric and Dan battling it out in the pro standings. Scott Kostrick now half a second ahead. Sorry, Sean Webber now half a second ahead. Scott Kostrick with Eric Ronenberg just over a second back, and then Cyril Blanco and Dan Weirham trying to fight down Eugene Webber back there, having a tussle there with Tom Bland. So we've got Sean Webber out front under pressure now from Scott Kostrick as Scott tries to come around the outside as we come into Remus, but no. Oh, Sean held it, but Scott's got his nose in front with Eric Ronenberg really close up behind Scott there, and he's pushed his way through. So Eric Ronenberg's now made his way into 2nd, has he? Just on the overlap, but he's going to be tight enough because I think Sean Webber's got the inside there. No. Eric's such a skilled driver. So exciting. Scott Kostrick holds the lead from Eric Ronenberg. Sean Webber now under pressure from Cyril Blanco. Dan Weirham closely finds them. Tell you what, if Dan manages to get back on the tail of this lot, it's going to be a bit of a battle, because that puts us now all the way back to 6th with Tom Bland behind Dan Weirham. So we go back out front and we've got Scott Kostrick closely followed by Eric Ronenberg, with Sean Webber behind him, then Cyril Blanco and Dan Weirham half a second behind. So we come down the start-finish straight, and Scott Kostrick under pressure from Eric Ronenberg as we come up into T1, closely followed by Sean Webber. There is nothing between these guys. Oh, and Sean Webber's lost it, and he's taken out Dan Weirham. Oh, there was all a bit of a tripping over each other there. Cyril Blanco's lost some spaces as well, but Dan's now falling all the way back down to 15th. He didn't need that in the battle in the final race to try and beat Dan Wirham. That was real bad luck from Dan. I'm sure he'll fight his way back. He's got another 20 minutes. But in the meantime, Eric Ronenberg fires it down the inside of Scott Kostrick and takes the lead. Will this be it? Now Eric's in front. Will he be off? Scott Kostrick tries to hold on. As we come down the start-finish straight. In fact, Scott takes it back. Eric takes it back. They're swapping places like a mad thing here. Scott Kostrick's on the inside. But then Eric Ronenberg's on the inside. There's literally a thousandth of a second between these two as Eric takes the lead. My betting is Scott Kostrick's going to take the lead in a second as well. Is he closing him down? Closing him? No, he loses it. But he's got his own problems with Tom Bland, who sneaks up the inside rather cheekily and almost makes it 3 wide into the final corner. But Tom Bland's now gone way wide. And they've let Eugene Webber back in, and Eugene takes 3rd place. So Scott Kostrick drops all the way back to 4th. This is not looking good. Eric Ronenberg, Eugene Webber now is up there. Tom Bland on the inside as they go into T1. Scott Kostrick is in 4th, and that's Rush Lee there. Pulling up in the background, but Eugene Webber now leads from 2nd to 4th with Tom Bland really close on the inside. We come through Remus. Scott Kostrick, late try there to undercut him, but doesn't quite do it. So Tom Bland now takes over 2nd place from Eugene Webber and Scott Kostrick. Eugene Webber's pushing like a mad thing. He's going to try and take the inside from Tom, but Tom's not having it, not letting him pass. And all the time Eugene's got Scott Kostrick to worry about. And Eric Ronenberg is now running away with it. Over 3 seconds out front. Whilst poor old Dan Wirham's all the way back there in 17th, unfortunately. But this is where the battle is. Tom Bland now pulling away a bit from Eugene Webber, who's got Scott Kostrick on his tail. As we look at Eugene being chased down. Really close. Oh, Scott Kostrick tries to go for the inside. Ends up going too wide. Doesn't quite do it. But he's looking very close here on Eugene. Eugene's back bumper is under pressure now as they come up the start-finish straight. Scott Kostrick goes for the inside. Don't quite make it. Pulls out a bit. But manages to hold on to that traction as they come round T1. Will he get him coming up into Remus? He's closing him down. The gap's closing. The gap's closing. He's gone for the inside. He's gone for the inside. Doesn't quite do it. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. No, he doesn't. Oh. Eugene Webber managed to hold him off there. Absolutely fantastic bit of racing as Tom Bland in 2nd place leads them all through. Eugene Webber, Scott Kostrick, Rush Lee, and then 3.5 seconds back to Cyril. And we're swapping places at the back here with Mark Proctor. They got Niles Cooler and Pete Woodmore in on the mix back here. And Pete Woodmore goes down the inside of Niles Cooler, takes place from him there. And we catch a glimpse of Stuart Court, is that? On the back of Rob Sutherland. Let's go have a look at that. Stuart's always fun to watch out for. Yep, Stuart's going to give Rob Sutherland a run for his money. If he can. And then Dan Forster under pressure further up in 8th place from Sean Webber. As Dan Forster managed to hold him off. Hard to tell with the same livery here, who's who. Dan Forster, the 0-0 car. Sean Webber, the 150, trying to go up the inside. Really doing unfriendly T1 as we see Rush Lee ahead there. Take up Scott Kostrick on the inside. And Sean Webber there ahead of Dan Forster. And let's go further back here. It's really close. Is this? Yeah, it is Joel. We've got Pete Woodmore. We've got Mark Proctor in here as well. Big old mix. Niles Cooler takes Mark Proctor. And you've got Rob Sutherland at the back there. They'll make it through there just about. But Tom Bland up front now is under pressure from Eugene Webber. Eugene, good racer. Good to see him in the league. Really giving us plenty of exciting racing as he battles down Tom Bland. Rush Lee's now joined them up here. Now featuring. He's a second off, but I'm sure it won't be long before he manages to jump on the back of these two. We've got Eric Ronenberg out front, Tom Bland 2.5 seconds behind, then Eugene Webber just 0.2. Rush Lee just over a second behind these two. Bit further back we see Peter holding off Sean Webber. Quite a tight one here, there's only a couple of tenths between them. Sean Webber's gone a little bit wide, but he gets a bit of traction at the start finish. I think we could see something on here. Sean Webber's gone for the inside. Is Peter going to be brave enough to hold it going all the way around the outside, or will he back out? Nope. He does the safe thing. Sean Webber goes through. Back out front, we've got Tom Bland under pressure from Eugene Webber again. We come up into Remus and Eugene Webber not close enough to go for the inside. Unfortunately, Rush Lee late on the brakes there. Crikey, got really close to the back of Eugene. I thought he was going to take him out. So Eugene Webber keeping Tom honest, making sure it doesn't have an easy race of it. Eric Ronenberg out there, nearly 3 seconds ahead. Tom Bland, Eugene Webber going up the inside. Has he got him? Oh, I think Tom's holding it. Yes, he managed to take him on the inside. And he'll be on the inside again if he can hold it. But I think Eugene's got the better traction. Yeah, and the shorter route there across the curb. And Eugene holds him off, but that has let Rush Lee in. So now we've got a three-way fight for second, with Eugene Webber closely followed by Tom Bland and Rush Lee. Less than half a second between these three. Eugene under pressure from Tom here as we come up the start finish. Tom goes to the inside. Rush Lee follows Tom. Doesn't make it 3 wide, but doesn't need to. They both use the draft. Go flying past Eugene Webber. So Rush Lee goes into second for a second there, but Tom Bland takes that back, and Eugene Webber finds himself back in fourth. So Eric's there, over 3.5 seconds ahead now of Tom Bland, as Rush Lee tries to head Tom Bland down this time. Eugene Webber has now dropped to over half a second behind these two. So further back we've got some fighting going on between Peter and Dan Forster. And that's now separated itself out as Dan lost a bit of traction there. Guess who's coming back up the field? Stuart Court now under pressure from Dan Wirham. Last time we saw Dan, he was in 17th. He's been busy getting his way back up in to 12th. Still a long way to go He wants to put any mark on Eric's lead. Don't think that's going to happen. Got just over 10 minutes to go. Stuart caught right on the tail of Joel here. He tries to go up the inside or outside, well, all the time. Dan Wiram's going up the inside, takes it 3 wide. And here we go, Dan Wiram up into 10th. Oh, little twitch there from Dan, which loses his traction. Oh, and Stuart catches the back of him, which lets Joel off the hook massively there. Joel's pulled to the inside though. Maybe got a slowdown or something, not quite sure there. But Stuart caught Dan Wiram having all sorts of trouble as he gives poor old Jack Holland a little nudge. Cyril out there all on his own. We'll get back to Joel. Sorry, got the cars mixed up there. Same livery. Rob Sutherland comes up the inside and takes Joel on there. Dan Wiram dropped back into 12th after that little to-in and throw-in. And we've got Mark Proctor on Stuart Court. Nice little battle going on here. So, we have Joel and Rob battling out as we come up into Remus. Rob's on the inside. Is he going to be able to hold it? Oh, he is. Bit of nudging, bit of pushing, bit of elbows out. Rob's through, Dan forced it, and he got 3 wide as Stuart Court goes round the outside to take that place. So we got Stuart Court here under pressure from Joel, and then Dan Wiram back in 13th now. Going up and down the standings. Let's get back out in front with Rush Lee, because I think he's putting some pressure on Tom Bland here with Eugene Webber close up behind and Scott Kostrick close up behind him. A couple of good battles going on. Well, Eric's way out in front there, 5.5 seconds, but if we go back to Tom under pressure from Rush Lee. Yeah, Rush coming up the outside on Tom. He's nudging ahead, but he's on the outside going into Remus, and Eugene Webber gets a huge amount of traction there. Managed to get right on the back of Rush as they come down for the next corner. We got Tom Bland 2/10 back to Rush Lee. Eugene Webber 10.5 behind him. Scott Kostrick just 4/10. So 4-way battle here for second as Rush Lee goes up the inside, taking Tom Bland. Tom nearly loses out to Eugene Webber as well, but now Tom is going around the outside of Rush Lee. But Rush Lee has the inside coming into this double bend, round to the left and then left again, which gives Rush the advantage. Eugene trying to get some traction up on Tom Bland. To be fair, Tom's holding really close onto Rush Lee here, trying to come up the inside, then dodges to the outside. He's got Eugene Webber going around the outside there as well, and Scott Kostrick's back in the tail. Oh, and Tom Bland, lovely dive there on Rush Lee. Thought he'd lost it, to be honest, but his traction's all over the place. He goes slightly wide there. In the final bend, they come up to start-finish straight. We've got Tom Bland 2/10 back to Rush Lee, Eugene Webber and Scott Kostrick and Cyril Blanco now in on the fight. They all behave themselves as they come round T1. And the fight is on for second place. Tom Bland under pressure from Rush Lee. Rush Lee goes up the left-hand side of Tom Bland, which will be the outside of Remus if he doesn't manage to pass him beforehand. Tom Bland's just got enough there to keep it, maintains his traction on that, making it a very tight bend there, very difficult. Rush Lee's now nudging ahead, just got the headlamps out front, but Tom Bland's on the on what will be the inside, and Eugene Webber trying to follow Rushleigh through. Oh, and you could see that coming. Rushleigh catches the back tail, unfortunately for Tom Bland, and gives him a spin, letting Cyril Blanco come through into second. But he's got Eugene Webber to worry about coming up his inside into this double left-hander. So Eugene's got the slight advantage, but Cyril Blanco may have the traction now as we exit that double set of corners. And Scott Kostrick comes up through the middle to make it 3 wide. I don't think I've said 3 wide as much, and Rushleigh's trying to find a way through. Oh, unnerved Scott Kostrick, gives Eugene Webber a bit of a bash, and we go side by side. Rushleigh's through on Cyril Blanco. Scott Kostrick goes to the back of these 5, battling it out, and then we get Sean Webber come up. Oh, little nudge there. I think we lost Cyril Blanco. May have got one too many. We better get back in the action. We're losing them all over the place here. So we'll go back to Eric out front. Quite sure what's gone on there. Don't know whether some people got 1 or 2 many off tracks and incidents, because we got some outs there. Rushleigh, Eugene Webber, Cyril Blanco, all of the people we were following all showing us out. Sort of interrupted the commentating a bit. Let's put Eric Ronenberg out front by 14 seconds. We're following on board with Sean Webber with Tom Bland. So we've gone from a all-out scrap to quite a little drive around the Red Bull ring with 3.5 minutes to go. What happened to my battling buddies? Not quite sure. Let's go find some action. We got Pete Woodmore and Jack Holland battling it out for 11th place as Jack tucks himself behind Peter, and then Adrian behind him. We come around this double left and then right. Pete Woodmore manages to hold off Jack Holland. Dan Wareham goes into pit lane. Must be a penalty because there's no damage on. And Jack Holland comes up the inside of Pete Woodmore here. Is he going to hold it all the way to the line? Yeah, I think we just capture Dan Wareham with a drive through there. Oh, Pete Woodmore does a good job of holding off Jack Holland there, and Adrian Hadfield manages to make his way through as well. So back out front we've got Eric Ronenberg, couple of minutes away from a win, and he's also going to be the champion of season 7 in the Pro Division. And if we go back, and here's our man Adrian Hadfield, who stands a good chance now of winning the AM division as well. There's still some battling to be done, but even with Dan Forster, who's in second place in AM there, don't think he's going to catch him up. So we look at Sean Webber, 14 seconds back from Eric Ronenberg. Tom Bland half a second behind. It's all calmed down a bit now on track. We're going to follow Eric Ronenberg through now. It's been a great season, guys. Really enjoyed commentating on the races. Been some fantastic racing. There's been some incidents, of course, there always will be, but it's been mostly friendly. Definitely nothing personal, and nothing purposeful, which is exactly how we like it. And some fantastic racing from the likes of Eric, Dan Wareham, Stuart Court, and lately Rush Lee and Cyril Blanco have given us some good entertainment, as well as the two Webbers, Eugene and Sean. It's just been fantastic. So big thank you to John Johnston for organising this event. We have season 8 coming up soon. I'll be commentating on that as well. I'm Sean Clark, happy to commentate on these races. They're so entertaining. Barney's got the flag out. Here we go. Eric Ronenberg comes across the line. Season 7 champion, rounds it off with a win in race 10. Well done, Eric. We've got to wait a little while for Tom Bland to come across the line. But here they come. Tom Bland, Sean Webber, followed by Peter. Then Dan Forster. Unfortunately not enough points to catch up Adrian Hadfield. Stuart Court. Thanks for some great racing, Stuart. And Joel. Niles Cooler. Then we got Peter Woodmore. Takes out Jack Holland there. Adrian Hadfield. Am champion. Well done, Adrian. And Dan. Good challenger, Dan. Great racing. And thank you to the rest. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. Nip over to tansoracing.co.uk and sign up for season 8. Thanks for joining us. Until next time.